Okay, this is more of a personal thing than with the Australian motocross scene, but we're down here in Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington area, and I just happened to bump into a friend, and it's one of my very good friends from West Texas, racing world. When we were living in Lubbock, we bumped into this gentleman and his family. That moved into something that we did, and we'll talk about that again with the extreme experience. But Keith King, like, tell us kind of your background as far as getting into motorsports. You know, like where are you here? Why are you here?
Sure. Yeah, so when I was a kid, I started racing motocross 10, 12 years old in the Midwest. Made it to the point of factory support at the time of 18. Started a family then, which, as you know, is not really conducive to racing. So put it on the back burner. And I didn't ride. I didn't even pick up a bike. Fast forward 25 years, got remarried and had children, sons, and the boys wanted to ride. So we started back into it. Kyle, of course, my son, raced, made it to the A group, and then he was done. But Dad wasn't done. So I wanted to continue, and through that, myself and Eric Burkhart, we started a small team and sponsored a few guys, Casey Brennan, Sean Hackley, and went from there. And that's what brought us to this team.
Okay, so and we'll come to the sponsorship in a minute. Like, when you were riding versus your kids riding, what's the difference there? Like, you're watching your kids, you know, it's a dangerous sport, deadly.
Yeah.
It's a deadly sport, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, when it's us out there, David, you know how it is. We're aware of our confidence and ability, okay? So we know where we're at. With the kids, you just don't know. I mean, we feel that we've trained them and prepped them, but it's still your kid. And it's not that I love any of these guys less, but it is different when it's your child.
Okay, so you love the sport, you love being around great people.
Oh,
the most amazing people around this sport. You started some, like, I remember in your used car shop up there in Odessa.
Yep.
There, you bought some Suzukis?
We did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had a great relationship with Bobby Hewitt from Rockstar Suzuki at the time, and so we were able to buy these 6-month-old, essentially factory kickout race bikes, and that's what allowed me to start sponsoring other kids and vet guys like Eric. And so, yeah, it just kind of grew into what it is now. Okay,
now, Hackley, tell us, he got hurt, and then it was it.
Yeah, Sean's best known for being the Disney kid, you know, the commercial back in the day. But he also was a perennial competitor. I mean, he did well. But, you know, there are no 80-year-old Supercross racers.
Right.
So, to call it a day. So when he decided to do that, we started helping Casey Brennan out of New Mexico.
Sure.
Casey, by the way, last week made the main and
Yes.
is doing well.
Yeah.
And so we did that for a couple seasons. Through Rockstar, we met Nathan Fight, which was Jason Anderson's mechanic. And so Nathan and I are friends. He contacted me about this deal with AJE, and that's how that started.
Okay, so the gig that you have going on now, it's kind of moving from the minors into the majors.
Sure.
What is your part of it?
Well, we're a minority sponsor,
Okay.
and I'm the team manager.
Okay.
So, you know, my commitment is to be there every week. We have, you know, Nate Fight is our motor builder, Eric Burkhart's the crew chief, Dustin Turner, a lot of you guys know from West Texas, is our communications director. So we got a great group of guys. And then, of course, our mechanics and riders.
Now, we interviewed at press day, we interviewed Dean Wilson, you know, that just came out of being privateer, and he was talking about the difference, like when you're kind of running your own thing, like the logistics and he's like, I couldn't even sleep. There was just so much, where now I can just focus on, with being a team manager, like what are your, like to me as a team manager, like you just want the guy to hop on the seat and that's it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're?
Well, it would be great if it were that easy. So it's just the opposite of what Dean just went through, in that, you know, at the end of the day, it's still just 2 or 3 guys on 2 or 3 dirt bikes.
Yeah.
But when you're a rig traveling team, you know, it's things like DOT permits and licensings and insurances and the logistics to take this circus down the road is crazy. It's more, having been around the sport my whole life, but not at this level.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I didn't realize what it really takes.
What's the craziest thing so far that you run into as far as being the manager?
Man, I think just getting everybody to the same place, just the logistics of it is it's pretty nuts. And we won't get off into politics here, but what we all experienced at San Diego was crazy.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions here, as far as the team manager and literally the destruction of motorcycles with this. And I'm not going to get into why.
Sure.
But tell us how it affected your team.
Well, actually, David, at this point, I'm probably not going to comment on it because we haven't really taken care of everything. But suffice it to say, and Phil was aware of it. It wasn't intentional, of course.
Yeah.
And but the stuff that they it created was pretty damaging to the bikes and stuff. But more importantly, to the riders.
Yeah.
A lot of pretty severe burns.
Yeah.
So
everything good with your riders?
Oh yeah. Chris Blow's doing great. Our equipment's back.
Now let's talk about your riders. Bringing up Chris, veteran arena cross rider. Okay.
Absolutely.
Had some issues here and there. Like when you're talking about bringing somebody like that, and great, love Chris, but veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about Hackley. You know what? Like, what is the thinking there?
Well, I would love to stand here and give myself all the credit for that.
Yeah.
Okay. But I can't. It didn't have anything to do with me. Eric was. We actually had another Texas rider. We thought secured. At the 11th hour, the contract. We just didn't come to terms, and we found ourselves looking for a rider. So, I'm thinking the young up-and-comers.
Right.
And who can we talk to? Eric wisely thought, wait a minute, what if we looked at some of this Lucas or the Amsoil Arena Cross, is defunct. What if we look at some of these guys?
Yeah.
So Chris Blows is from Phoenix. Our shop's in Phoenix.
Right.
We're based out of Phoenix. He missed the championship by 2 points due to an injury. I mean, the guy's a contender. So Eric reached out to him, and of course Tony. You know, we haven't mentioned Tony, but that's another integral part of the whole thing because it's his team.
Right.
But they reached out to him, and it's been just a godsend. As you mentioned, he's a veteran. He's a little long in the tooth. He's 30 years old.
Yeah.
But the kid fights like he's 18. So.
And I would imagine a wealth of knowledge bringing to the team and experience. Of course.
Absolutely. Is in any business.
Yeah.
You got a guy that has that type of background and knowledge. He brings so much to the table, to the younger guys that look at it, to the mechanics.
Yeah.
For testing, you know, as you well know as a racer,
Yeah.
A lot of the thing is the setup, and some of these younger guys don't know how to convey that. So
Very good.
Chris is amazing.
Not to go long, what do you see your chances here in Dallas this weekend?
Well, as you know, we're a 250 West Coast team.
Yeah.
So the boys will be riding 450, and it'll be our first round of 450s, not their native bikes. We just want to come out healthy. We obviously want to make the main, and just however we fall. I think we'll. If you look at the the standing is so stacked.
Yeah.
So stacked. So, yeah, I think if we come out healthy, I think that'll be the main thing.
Heath, love seeing you.
Thank
you look
you.
like radiant. Radiant.
We're having
Yes.
fun.
Yeah.
We are having a good time.
Yeah. And so we'll see you. Good luck with your team. For sure.